In a bid to go viral, some people have attempted crazy online stunts, documenting their experiences. Sometimes, it worked out exactly as they planned, but in some rather unfortunate cases, people unknowingly recorded their final moments before their shocking death. Linda Michelle Rogers. Linda Michelle Rogers was a 2-year-old sixth grader who couldn't hold the excitement she felt towards the upcoming All-Star National Cheerleading Championship in Dallas in 2018. She woke up early that day, which was the 23rd of February, 2018, and excitedly started documenting her day. She recorded herself getting prepared for the big day as she spoke about the routines she was following to complete her preparations. Linda dressed up with a red long-sleeve shirt and what looked like a cheer top that had sparkles on it underneath. She also had one braid done and her flat iron in her hands. The tragic gas explosion. She continued with her routine in the third and final video where she can be seen recording in a time-lapse with no sound. She was standing with her hands on her hair, pacing about while looking straight at the mirror. She then walked off the screen, and that was when the tragedy happened. Although we couldn't see her or hear anything, we all saw a bright light before everything went dark. It turns out that a gas explosion had occurred. The gas explosion tore her home apart, bringing most of it to the ground. Linda's family rushed her to the hospital, but unfortunately she didn't make it. Her phone was later found undamaged in the wreckage after the blast. Brazil Chapecoense Football Club. The Brazil football team was inside the Lamia plane on their way to Medellin to play in the Cup finals against Atlético Nacional. The video showed how prepared and happy they were, probably cheering themselves up for what might have been a victorious game. Just before their takeoff, the team's 2-year-old defender took out his camera to document the happy moment. They were all smiling and ready for the game. It was supposed to be an exciting game of football, but they didn't know that it was going to be their final time together. Just moments after takeoff, the plane slammed into a mountainside near the Colombian city of Medellin, killing almost everyone. The devastating crash. Only 6 of the 77 people on board survived. The team lost 19 players with 2 in critical condition, while the club's goalkeeper had one of his legs amputated and was still at risk of losing his other leg. This was a very sad one for Brazil. It is worth mentioning that the team the Chapecoense were due to play against offered to concede the game, so the Chapecoense team was declared the winner. Xiao Qiumei. Xiao Qiumei was a 3-year-old mother of 2 who loved the internet lifestyle. She had over 100,000 followers on Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok. She was one of the very popular content creators and TikTok artists in China. She enjoyed sharing videos of her lifestyle and profession with her followers, and they loved it. She also loved to dance, and her moves wowed her followers. Xiao happened to also be a crane operator. One day, shortly after closing from her job, Xiao Qiumei decided to go on a live stream, but she decided that she was going to do it on the 160-foot crane. The fatal misstep. After starting the live stream, Xiao started dancing, showing off her skills when in what seemed like a split second, something horrific happened. Xiao missed a step and fell off the 160-foot crane down to the ground. She ultimately fell to her death with her phone still in her hands. When the video went out, some people said her death was a result of a social media stunt. But after investigations, her family came up to clear the air by stating that their daughter's death was a result of a misstep on the crane. This was a very tragic one for China. Harrison Gilkes. In 2020, 6-year-old Harrison Gilkes was diagnosed with a rare soft tissue cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma. He had a tumor in his prostate and holes in his lungs. 2 years later, doctors told him that this cancer was now terminal and could not be treated. This was very sad news for Harrison and his family, but Harrison didn't allow his condition to get to him. He decided to create a TikTok account to document and share his life story with the world.
I'd like to make a little series called maybe like bucket list series.
He decided that he was going to live his life to the fullest by creating a bucket list. A life lived to the fullest. This TikTok account grew so much with people showing care, support, and love to Harrison. Harrison was determined, so he started. Thanks to the donations of his fans, Harrison went on to experience a lot on his bucket list. He went ice skating, skydiving, and all he could think of. During this time, he had to undergo months of chemotherapy and radiation, which seemed to have made his condition a little better. He didn't forget to tell his fans about the news with little hope as he continues to share his experience. Things were starting to look better, and everyone couldn't wait as Harrison's birthday approached. The heartbreaking decline. Harrison's 18th birthday came, and Harrison was still with us. Everyone was filled with happiness as he marked the day. But everything started looking bad when no one heard from Harrison for the next 4 weeks that followed his birthday. Harrison was nowhere to be seen for a whole month until November 17th, when he returned with news that turned smiles to frowns. The chemo he did all summer didn't really work. The tumor kept progressing, and it was getting a little bigger, and it spread to his hip too. Hopes were shattered, but the bucket list continued. Harrison continued to explore, trying to mark down every activity he had on his bucket list. He spent quality time with his friends and family and tried his best to do all he could. The final message. Harrison eventually saw the next year, 2023. But the year didn't go too far before he released what was going to be his final video. Harrison was shown on a hospital bed with tubes and pipes. He had a message for everyone. My chances of me going home are very slim, so I'll be in the hospital for probably the remainder of whatever time I get left.
I love you guys. Thank you for all the support throughout everything.
Pray for me and my family. It's been a great ride with you guys on the bucket list. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support through everything. His words broke deep into people's hearts, and sadly he died shortly after the video, while being surrounded by his father, mother, and brother. Felicia Kononchuk. The life of 9-year-old Felicia Kononchuk took a drastic turn on the 17th of February, 2021. Felicia was a very sweet little girl who also loved TikTok. She stayed in Chita, Russia, with her mother Elena, her father Fyodor, and her little brother. She would often post fun content and child-related stuff on her TikTok account. But the video she posted on that very day was neither fun nor childish. Felicia was home alone with her 4-year-old brother when she started hearing loud knocks on the door. The terrifying neighbor. Just like every child who received training from their parents, Felicia didn't open the door immediately. She knew it was neither her mom nor her dad. Besides, whoever was behind the door was using abusive words, cursing out, while relentlessly hitting the family's residential door. Felicia, who was extremely terrified, thought of a way out of the situation when she noticed it was her neighbor who was drunk. Even as the knocks continued, she quickly took to her TikTok account to tell her friends about her ordeal. She later went to hide under the bed with her junior brother, but nothing changed. The knock had now prolonged for over an hour. The fatal mistake. Felicia was still scared, but somehow she didn't alert the maintenance workers who were currently renovating some parts of the apartments. She prayed that somehow something could change and her drunk neighbor would go away. But it didn't happen. After a few minutes, the knock suddenly stopped. Felicia knew that her dad would be back in no time because he went to grab a few things from the store, but she desperately wanted to leave the apartment for some extra safety while she waited for her dad. As she prepared to leave the house, she heard knocks on the door, and immediately she went to open it, thinking it was the friend she was supposed to meet up with, or maybe her father. The unthinkable happens. But sadly, as she slid open the door, she came face to face with her drunk neighbor, 3-year-old Vasily Dunets. She tried to run back into the house, but Vasily shot her multiple times, causing her to fall to the ground. He used a 12 caliber IZH-43 hunting rifle, and one bullet even passed through the door. Felicia's father, who was just stairs away from his daughter, heard the gunshots and immediately ran to their apartment, only to meet Felicia in a pool of blood. As he rushed towards her, urging his son and other maintenance workers to call the ambulance, Felicia said her last words to her father. She said, "Dad, I've been killed." Felicia passed on immediately, the senseless reason. It was later known that the reason why Vasily shot Felicia wasn't just because he was drunk, but because of the noise coming from the apartment, which made him uncomfortable. How petty a reason to end the life of a 9-year-old. These videos might lead one to tears. However, we should not ignore the bigger aim to prioritize our safety and the safety of others.